Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Punattu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitam ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Alka. Alka has a question. Alka, are you here? Yes. Okay.
Yes, Shanti.
Alka, how is self-imposed sorrow today related to our thoughts of the past? Okay, Alka, that's correct. Our sorrow today has only to do with our thoughts in the past. So let us see how we get sorrow, then we'll understand how it comes from the past. We get sorrow, we become unhappy when we don't get what we want. Okay, suppose I say this is very important to me and I really want it and I don't have it for whatever reason. Either I don't get it or I get it and I lose it. I will be very unhappy. So why does sorrow come? Sorrow comes because a desire is interrupted. All right, clear so far? Now, how does desire come? What is a desire? A desire is nothing but our repetitious thoughts that we have done in the past. We have believed that something is going to, we had this random thought that if I get this, I'll be very happy. Just some random thought. We did not examine this thought. And we kept on thinking about it. Oh, I must get it, I must get it, I must get it, I must get it, I must get it. The consequence of this has been that now that desire has become extremely strong. And any form of interruption will be heartbreaking for me. So, interruption of desire causes sorrow. Okay, so that's my desire today. Now, what is it to do with the past? I created this, I repeated thoughts about this thing in the past. And so now I have this huge bugbear on my back, as it were. Can't do anything about it. I'm a helpless victim of that thing.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, Archana, can you please elaborate? Knowledge and ignorance are not opposed to each other. They differ only in degree, not in kind. Yes, this is an important thing for us to understand how knowledge and ignorance are not opposed. I'm glad both of you have come up, asking questions on very important aspects. We believe that I know something, and that person is an ignorant person, he doesn't know it. Or I don't know something, and that person over there is very knowledgeable and they know it. So we have this concept that somebody knows something or doesn't know it. But that's not really true because nobody knows it and nobody does not know it. Knowledge is a very comparative thing. Okay. So if I say, do I know English literature? Okay. I am an MA in English literature. Do I know it? Yes, of course, I know it compared to someone who has not done a postgrad in English literature. But do I know it the way Shakespeare knows it? Of course not. So it is all relative. There may be people, who have not done an MA in English literature and still may know more. Okay? So it's all comparative. And when it comes to our own, up to this point, clear, it's all comparative, whether one knows or doesn't know.
Yeah, ma'am.
Now, when it comes to our subject that we are studying Vedanta, what is it that we are all trying to do? We are all trying to become better people, right? So we all have our concepts that I'm good here, but this concept is incorrect. Or we have a concept I'm bad here. That concept is also incorrect because there's no point which is good or bad. Like, we discussed that example where a man, he hit somebody within an inch of that fellow dying. He was a criminal and he beat that chap up. So this criminal is thinking in his own mind, see, I'm such a good guy. He treated me so badly. मैंने उसको मारा. I mean, I hit him, but I didn't kill him. I'm such a good guy. Another guy will say, I got so angry with him. Okay? Like I'll say about my servant, I was so angry on him. I shouted so much, but I didn't hit him. I'm a very good person. Right? Another person will say, I got so angry, but I didn't shout. I'm a good person. Another person will say, I got angry. I didn't do anything. I was just angry in my head. I'm such a bad person. Right? So each one has its own estimation of what is good, what is bad, what is ignorance, what is knowledge. So all very relative. Okay, so you'll find more criminals believe they are good than more unselfish people believe they are good. Because it's all very relative. Where are you speaking from? And when you understand this, you begin to see the coherence of knowledge. Now you see it as a whole thing. Whatever that person is saying is true. From where they're standing, it is true, of course. And you understand a very important concept in Jainism. Jainism has this very nice concept about Syadvad. I don't know if you all are familiar with Syadvad. Have you heard of Syadvad, Archana?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so Syadvad is a belief or a system that says all opinions are true. Okay, so you say asti true, nasti true, asti nasti true. Whichever one you take, it is right. It is right from where that person is standing. Okay, so it is a very, very um, important concept to understand that I am neither the holder of knowledge nor am I the holder of ignorance. I'm somewhere in that path. Okay, there may be some who know more and some who know less, but I have to get better from where I am. All right, is that clear?
Yeah, ma'am.
So it's a
Thank
difference
you.
in degree, not in kind. So it's a little bit more or a little bit less. Now, what is the difference in kind? A difference in kind means a completely different thing. Like you can have a big dog and a small dog. Okay, but they are difference of degree. But a dog and a horse is a difference in kind.
Right.
Right? So you and I and all of us, we have a difference of degree in terms of knowledge. Okay, so what do you do, Archana? I mean, what's your field? What are you educated in?
I'm chartered accountant.
You're a chartered accountant. So as a chartered accountant, you know a lot more than us in things pertaining to finances, right? And we obviously know less than what you know. This is a difference of degree. Difference in kind is between all of us together and a Buddha or a Rama or a Krishna. They have changed their state of consciousness itself. So it's a difference of kind. So an enlightened person has a different kind. The difference between all of us is only of degree. Okay? All right. Does anyone else have anything else? So let us continue with where we were. The important part of knowledge. Okay, so where were we? So on page 108, Omkar, who is Satsang host today? Omkar, can you show similar?
Yes. What do I show? Sorry.
Similarly, just one para above what we are going to do. Or show that page. I mean, in my book it's 108. So those who have on page 108, you can look at that. Otherwise, I don't know what page it is in the new book. So sorrow and suffering in this waking world is just a difference of degree, whatever we go through. But when we realize the Atman within, then we have a difference in kind, completely different experience. So the real answer to sorrow is not um, um, is not just improving the degree of what we have, but in improving the very kind of things we are talking about. And that's the final answer. That's what he's saying. That you are the immaculate self. You are heir to a different kind. Now, but when we say you're heir to a different kind, you think, okay, so I am somewhere here, and that different kind of thing which is supposed to be mine is somewhere there. So he's removing that misunderstanding. Okay, so who will read the next paragraph? I hope it's clear up to this point. We are all going through different degrees of sorrow and happiness. Different people in the world at different times, when things are going well, things are not going well. Somebody is more spiritually developed, somebody is less stable. Different people are going through different degrees of this. And when we reach enlightenment, it's a different kind of happiness we have. It's not a different degree such as we are all experiencing over here. Now, when we say this, we talk about that as being something else out there, right? That we have to somehow reach. So that's the misunderstanding that he will now try to remove for us. Okay, so who will read the next paragraph?
Should I read, Janti ji?
Please do.
Is it from the Atman or similarly?
Yeah, the Atman.
Okay. The Atman, your divine self, is the core of your person. It vitalizes your body to act and perceive, your mind to feel, and your intellect to reflect, contemplate. The self is the abode of everlasting peace and bliss. Yet you are unaware of it and stay disturbed, sorrowful. You behave like the lady who lamented the loss of her precious necklace. The lady was in great distress. She searched every nook and cranny of her house. Exhausted with her search, she sat down in a corner, weeping bitterly. Her husband found her in that pathetic state. He inquired as to the cause of her misery. She declared her terrible loss. Her husband was calm and composed. He looked at her rather confused and asked, "What then is around your neck?" The lady glanced at it and felt abashed. She found a necklace which was never lost. This, in short, is the plight of mankind. Should I summarize?
Yes, please.
So here he is saying that the Atman or our self is the core of our personality. It is the enlivening principle that enlivens our body, mind, and intellect, and is the source of peace and bliss, and yet we are ignorant of it. And because of this ignorance, we feel sorrow. And he gives the example of this lady who was looking for her necklace, which eventually was around her neck.
Okay, thank you. So what are we saying? We are saying that this happiness of a different kind, which we are looking for, is not something for us to be looking for. It is already ours. And that's why they call it Maya. We are bound to sorrow by these desires, strangely, because our own nature is complete happiness. That's what's the real tragedy in this. The real tragedy is not that we are unhappy, miserable people, that we're ignorant, stupid people. The real tragedy is that we are the full knowledge and the full happiness, and we just don't know. That's the real tragedy. That's why it's so difficult for anyone to tell us anything. Because we aren't going to believe when you're miserable, when you're crying, when you're thinking you're very stupid or very whatever you're thinking. Somebody tells you, you know what, your complete knowledge, your complete bliss. मेरा सिर नहीं खा हाँ, किसी और को जाके बताओ. That's how you feel. So there's no communication. What communication will there be? How can there be? That's what the problem is. We seem to be caught by something that doesn't even exist. After all, what is a thought? A thought is nothing substantial, and yet you're caught so badly that there's no release almost. And why is there no release? Not because there is no release. Release is very easy. Because the thoughts will not accept that there is release. Upanishad says, Atma Hanaha, it is suicide. It's just suicide. Why would we not release ourselves? But we won't. People will rather stay. Now, this sounds like too much for us to digest. So look at it even from a relative way. A person has some stupid fault, some minor thing, not even some great fault or anything. They would rather justify that fault rather than remove it and be happy. Haven't you seen that? I'd rather justify your nonsense than to stop doing it and be completely happy, completely productive. Everything, you get everything. Just get away from this silly thing that you're doing. Won't do it. Won't do it. And anyone who can see it just stands by helplessly because nobody can help you if you don't want to help yourself. You can see that. You can see it clearly in other people. The problem is always on seeing it when we are doing it. Just sit back and watch. Just watch. Can't you see that if this person only adjusted this small thing, he would be doing very well in life, or she would be having a perfect marriage, or they would be healthy, or whatever. You can see it. But that man won't do it. That woman won't do it. And nothing and nobody can help. Tragic, no? So now you can understand it with reference to others. And the thing is to understand that okay, if it is true that I am the self, it is true that I am full happiness. And what nonsense am I doing by not being willing to investigate that? Not willing to investigate. Just investigate, that's all. And anything is going to disappear. Like, I don't know, the snows of yesteryears, it's gone. But we need to investigate. And after you investigate, you come to Shankaracharya's great statement. You know, there's this beautiful shloka known as Atma Shatkam. I don't know if you all have heard it. If you haven't, go to YouTube. I'm sure there'll be a good rendition of it. It's Atma Shatkam. He says, Mano Buddhi Chit Ahamkar. I am not. I am not all these things. Okay. And one line in that, Shivoham, Shivoham, he says. Chidananda Rupa, Shivoham, Shivoham. So one line in that is a very interesting line. He says, I am not bandhaha na muktihi. I am not bondage and I am not freedom. So that always surprises everybody. Okay, I understand I am not bondage, but obviously I am freedom. But that's not true, right? Because just think about it. If there is no bondage, what is the point of freedom? So when there's no bondage, how can there be freedom? You were never bound. So the question of freeing yourself never came. We think ourselves to be bound, and therefore comes the concept of freedom. Otherwise, there's no freedom. What are you getting free from? Nothing is holding you. On Discovery once, there was this lovely program which they were showing some kind of creatures, something that looked like caterpillars or something. They follow each other. That they're programmed to do that. And so these fellows, they have one leader, and then they follow that leader. That's how they all function. They all go in a line. And these researchers, what they did is they made the first chap go around in a full circle. They leave a little trail, as they're walking, they leave some silky sort of trail, and the creature behind sees it and walks on that. So what they did is they made that leader. I hope I was clear up to this point. caterpillar-like creatures. I've forgotten what, but they look like caterpillars, okay, and they leave a little silky trail behind them. And the way they function is they follow it. They just go behind on that silky trail. They all walk. So what they did is the researchers made the first guy, the leader, who was the first one leaving that trail, go round in a circle. I hope that was clear. Round in a circle. So when they went round in a circle and he came to the beginning, he saw the trail there, right? Already there was the mark of having gone there, that whatever thing they released. And he walked on that. And since he went on that, everybody went round that. And they went round and round and round and round. They're all in search of food, obviously. No? That's why creatures move. They went round and round and round and round and round and round. Like for days on end, they died over there because they didn't find food. But they would not get off that path. Now the question is, were they bound? Was anything stopping them from getting off that path? Nothing whatsoever, but they wouldn't. And that is how we behave. So Alka, that's the answer to your question also. Why does the past hold us? We're just repeating that thing. We're going to go that, do that, go do that. But why are you doing that? Simply because I've done it. I see the trail. It's easy for me to go on the trail. But I'm not stupid. I'm not like, my intellect is not working to say, I'm going on that trail. Is that trail helping me? I can't ask this question. What have I got by doing this? And thus comes the definition of insanity. You know the definition of insanity? You heard it many times. What's the definition of insanity? Bharat, not you.
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Very good, Reshma. I think soon I'm going to have to stop you also, like I have to stop Bharat. Very good, Reshma. So, what is insanity? Repeating the same actions but expecting a different result. Doing the same thing over and over again and thinking that this time it will give me a different result. Array, 25,000 times you have planted a neem seed and got a neem tree, and now for the 25,001 time you're going to plant it and say, this time I hope there'll be a mango. This time I've really prayed to God that there will be a mango on this tree. No, you will continue to get a neem tree. Then you'll say, oh, I did so much puja of the Lord, but mera neem to kabhi mango hua hi nahi. पागल लोग हैं क्या? If you plant a neem seed, you get a neem. सोया पेड़ बबूल का, सोया पेड़ बबूल का, आम कहाँ से खाए? करनी किया तो क्यों किया तो क्यों पछताए? सोया पेड़ बबूल का, आम कहाँ से खाए? If you do an action, what are you regretting it? Why are you regretting the result of that action? You did the action, you get the fruit. You do the action, you get the fruit. This is life. Get used to it. Don't say, oh, how cruel. Arey, you don't study in the exam. How do you expect to do well? It doesn't work like that. You don't get up in the morning and study. How do you expect to understand Vedanta? It ain't happening. You don't tell me after 15 years, oh, I came to your class 15 years till I'm so unhappy. It's not 15 years listening. It is your daily studies. Do it or don't do it. The action and its responsibility lies with you. The effect, its result, also lies with you. So, karni kiya to kyun kiya? Why did you do the karni? Why did you do that action? Kiya to kyun pachtaye? Now that the fruit has come, why are you crying? Soya paid babulaka. You went and sowed. What is that? You went and sowed a babul. You know the babul tree. You sowed a seed of that. Aam kahan se khaye? Where are you going to eat aam from now? Where are you going to eat mango from? You can't. No, but I pray to God. I love Krishna. And Krishna will take care of me. This is called tamasic action. मैं जो चाहूं करूं and Krishna has to come and take care of me. थोड़ा यहाँ ठीक करने की आवश्यकता है. My question to you is, when those caterpillars continued to walk over there, what was the bondage? There was no bondage. They were born free. They are free. Even when they're dying of starvation, they continue to be free. And if they ever leave that, well, they're just free. Anyway, they were free. There is no bondage. There is no liberation. In fact, most of those caterpillars died in that, going round and round. They died, literally died. They died of starvation because they went round and round, no food. Until one or two at the very end, they were at the end, and somehow they struggled out of that place. This is the tragedy of mankind. Nothing keeps us there, and yet we are bound. What makes me do all the silly things I do? Nothing. I'm free to stop doing them anytime I want, and yet somehow I won't do it. So that's what he's drawing our attention to. It is not that we are in the pursuit of happiness. It is that you already are a completely happy, completely knowledgeable person. It's just that you refuse to see it. Of course, you have to understand this carefully, because I've seen some people say, oh, I am full knowledge, I am full bliss, I am full everything. And then they go around telling everybody, I am God, I am God. Pagal ho kya? Actually, I mean, I'm not joking, really. People have done that. Please understand, just as I am full knowledge and full bliss, everybody else also is full knowledge and full bliss. It's not about I'm so great and you're so stupid. No, we are all equally great. There are people who take the mantle of being I am God, in a completely egoistical way. So that's obviously not correct. But what we have to understand is there is no bondage. There is nothing that is keeping me there. That's what I need to understand. So if you say, oh, I don't understand, am I really the self? Who knows whether I'm the self? You don't need to know whether you're the self or not. Keep releasing these stupid thoughts and find whatever you see. Look at it. Whatever it is, look at it. You will know. You don't have to decide here, am I God? Am I going to love God? Am I going to be different from God? Am I God myself? Right now, I don't need to worry about it. Right now, I just need to take each one of those stupid thoughts that we have got and figure out whether you want them or you don't want them. Just do that. Remove all the junk, keep whatever you want, keep removing junk, keep doing the cleaning, and see what remains. Don't have to make any decisions about what will remain. Just see what remains. Okay, I hope that is clear. So who will read the next paragraph?
Can I read, Janki?
Please do.
Life's mission is to discover oneself, to gain the knowledge of self. You need to strive and struggle for it all by yourself. You may take the guidance of savants and saints, but must put in your individual effort. You cannot delegate this responsibility. None other than you can redeem yourself. You are your savior. The oft-quoted pronouncement of the Gita, you must raise yourself by yourself. Therefore, must you work for the self, be devoted to the self, contemplate upon the self all through life. Spiritual practice is a full-time awareness of the reality, not a part-time ritual. So here he's again saying that no one, I mean, you can listen to your spiritual teachers and everything, but basically you can gain yourself only by your own study, contemplation, and the goal of realizing the self should be the devotion of yourself, your own actions. You have to keep working towards getting your spiritual practice should be a full-time awareness of reaching there, and you have to do it yourself. It's not that you can read some books and you can't gain the knowledge without contemplation and study.
Can you put all that in one word or two words?
Self-study,
Yeah. Self. Yeah, self is correct. Second word?
Self-realization.
Effort.
Self-effort. Self-effort. Can't do it in any other way. Very good. Oh, I'm so glad to see that this class has now coming to how our real world class was. You know, in the real world class, we told people, I don't know if you all remember, and how many of the real world people are really here? Let me see. Amrita, of course, is used to it, but how many people? Yes, Brinda, self-effort. Can you put everybody back on my screen, Omkar? Where is everybody? So how many are from the real world class? No, not many. Okay, so what we do, Kannariya, you're there. Who else? Dr. Bharti. Yeah, not many from the real world. Okay, so what used to happen when we did the class in Varishtha is that we used to try to put the paragraph into Vandana is here. So we used to try to put the thing into one word, 2 words. And that's a very good way for us to figure out what is this paragraph really talking about. Otherwise, what happens is that we get quite lost. We don't know where, kahan shuru hoga, kya end hua. You need a lot of concentration. So trying to put it in one word helps. So this paragraph tells us. Last paragraph told us. Can anyone tell me the previous paragraph in one word or 2 words or the fewest amount of words you can come up with?
Realize yourself.
What is the
Self-awareness.
essence of it?
Self-awareness.
Okay, now I can't see also. I don't know who is saying this.
Ignorance.
It's me. Self-awareness.
Okay, I mean, yes, you could possibly put it like that, but can you put it in the most specific thing that he has said over there? Most specific point.
I'm complete within.
You say know thyself.
Okay. Nanda, can you put it in fewer words?
At peace.
Okay. I mean, you're not wrong, but you should get the absolute essence in the minimum number of words. Exactly what he said.
May I try?
Please do.
I think realize yourself what you are. Then you can go ahead. Know thyself. That is the word.
Okay, all of you are right. It's not that you're wrong, but what is the most essential part of what he just said?
That the self is the core of your person.
You are the self.
Okay.
Happiness and peace is within you.
Self-reflection. Self-reflection.
Previous paragraph, not the one we just did. Previous one. What is it? That thou art. Okay, you can say this. But what is the most essential point about? Huh?
The self is permanent bliss and we are unaware.
Self-fulfilled, so self-sufficient.
Ignorance.
What is the most important point?
Ignorance of self.
Ignorance of self causes.
You're not aware of yourself.
Yes, correct. Now, can you put it in the briefest possible way?
There is no bondage. Know that you are
Correct.
self. Know that
Ignorance.
you are the self.
Yes.
We
Okay.
are digital illusion.
Sorry?
Illusion. We are digital illusion. Meaning we have
You have to become
a
this.
veil of ignorance around us.
Okay.
Ignorance
the
is the
most-
cause of suffering.
Okay, that was the previous one. That was
I am
even
happiness. I am happiness.
before. Okay, yes. That's correct. So, but now, written the fewest words, what is it? What is the most essential part of what he said? The most essential part, it's not that you all are wrong. Of course, the paragraph said all this, but the most essential part of what he said, think of the example. What is the example trying to tell you? It's trying to tell you a very basic idea. And
Look
that
within.
is
Look within. Responsibilities for
Discover
the self.
within.
the
The
idea is
Atman is within and we are looking outside.
correct. So now put it very briefly. The brief way of putting it is never lost. Was never lost. That's the point he's trying to make in that paragraph, right? You already know all this other stuff. So what is the point he made in that particular paragraph? We think, oh, he's saying the same thing. He's just giving me an explanation of what he just said. No, he's not. He's adding to the knowledge. He's adding it very gradually, step by step. But we have to have the discrimination to know that one step, one layer has been added to this. So what is it that he added here in this paragraph? Which about that necklace? What is the point he was trying to tell us? Never lost. It was never lost. That was what was the explanation about, right? There is no freedom because there is no bondage. Nothing is bound you. So what is that paragraph saying? Never lost. What is this paragraph saying? It's saying self-effort. Since it's not something that you have lost, how can anyone help you gain it? It's with you as it is. That's where self-effort comes into it. And then he's of course explained what is the effort you're supposed to put in. What is the effort he has told us to put in?
Regular study, that spiritual practice is that full-time thing, not a part-time.
Contemplation.
On the
Yeah. He is given the 3 parts. If you read it carefully, 3 parts. Therefore, work for the self. Work for the self means karma yoga. Be devoted to the self. Bhakti yoga. Contemplate upon the self. Jnana yoga. Remember, the person who's writing this text is a person who considers every word. There is nothing random in what he does, says, thinks. There's no randomness in his life at all. Okay, so if he has said something, then it's for us to make sure that we heard what he said. So he said, what did he say in the last paragraph? He said it's never lost. It's always with you. Now, how do you get it? You have to put your own self-effort. What are you going to be putting your effort in? Doing your karma, bhakti, jnana. Because as the Gita says, Uddharedat Atmanat Atmanam. Raise yourself by yourself, for you alone are your friend and you alone are your enemy. Don't hero worship anybody. Don't look upon anybody and say कि वो मुझे उद्धार करेगा, नहीं करेगा, खुद करना पड़ेगा. Get down to the work. कोई उद्धार नहीं करेगा. The buck stops here. Take responsibility for your own life. But don't take responsibility with ego, because then you're creating confusion. It's so difficult to misunderstand all this stuff. I mean, it's so easy to misunderstand all this stuff. It's very difficult to understand. That's why you have to pay attention. You can't say, oh, I was listening to class and I was doing this also. No, you can't, because you won't get it. This is a very subtle knowledge. If you don't put your full attention to it, God alone knows what you're getting out of it. Actually, not God alone, we know, because you look around at all what these religious people are doing and you'll see what they're getting out of it. So-called religious people are creating more mess than the so-called material people. Material people are going and earning their living and doing whatever they're doing. Spiritual people are driving everybody else mad. Sometimes it's even worse than what these guys are doing. Okay, so be careful to follow his flow of thought. He's very carefully building it up. He told us that First he told us, remember, previous paragraph, okay, 3 paragraphs ago, he told us sorrow is because you're ignorant of the self. Next paragraph told us, look, but you've never lost the happiness. It's never lost. It's still with you. Even while you're crying, it's still there. And how do you find it? Next paragraph told you, it is only through your own effort, self-effort. There's no other way to do this. You can be the student of the world's greatest teacher and be nowhere. I would like to say that we are all students of one of the greatest teachers, so specific, so clear. He's unraveled so much for us, but we are where we are. He has done his bit. When are we going to do our bit? So, work for the self, Karma Yoga, devoted to the self, Bhakti Yoga, contemplate upon the self, Jnana Yoga. And like any effort, it has to be full time. You can't do any, you can't be a mother part time, right? You can't do anything part time because it has to consume you. That's how your ego goes away, when you allow something to consume you. But if you stand apart, then the ego never goes away because you never allowed the fire to burn you. You never allowed the crucifixion to take place. Why do the Christians wear that symbol, crucifixion? It is the crucifixion of the ego. The willingness to give yourself, to surrender yourself to something higher, greater, nobler than you. To be willing to put aside your personal likes and dislikes, your ego, your confusions, complications, and put something beyond yourself. Anything. It doesn't matter what that thing is. That's why they say, Ram se bada Ram ka naam. Use anything. It doesn't matter. Be willing to get yourself burnt in that fire. Let it consume you. And then you'll find the ego does not exist. What ego? There is no ego. But are we willing to do that full time so that I forgot that I exist? I exist means this body, mind, and intellect is so important. To each one of us, we are very important. Finding this body, mind, intellect so important, meaning finding my actions so important, finding my emotions so important, finding my thinking so important. That's the problem, right? So when I'm willing to say, okay, never mind my personal action, meaning I don't care, you praise it, you blame it, whatever. I don't find my emotions so important in the sense that, okay, now sometimes you say nice things to me, sometimes you say bad things to me, chalta hai, ye hota rehta hai. I'm willing for this. Not finding my own views so important that everything you say is wrong and everything I say is right. No, let me listen to you. Let me understand. What are you saying? Just as I'm finding what I'm saying so important, so correct to me, what you're saying is sounding to you just that important and just that correct. Is anybody saying anything which they think is wrong? No, they think is right. So why can't I take the time and trouble to understand what you're saying? Why can't I empathize with you rather than expect that you empathize with me? Why can't I listen to you? When I start doing that, I'm willing to burn my own thoughts. Doesn't mean that I leave whatever I think is right. Of course not. We all have to do whatever we think is right. But I'm willing. I'm willing to not think of myself, my actions, my emotions, my thoughts as the single most important thing. And I will do that when I can associate with something greater, wider, nobler. I will do that. Because I won't get my ideal unless I do that. So it will become clear to me that either I give up the ideal or I give up my ego. Some of us will say, I give up the ideal. So fir raho jahan hai. Some of us will say, I give up the ego, then we will move forward. for everything in life. It could be running a business, it could be in having a marriage, it could be in anything. Are you willing to give it up for something bigger than yourself? All your work, either you do it or you don't. The rest of us can only watch, either with appreciation, wow, look, this person actually did it, or with sadness, this person is going to stay where they are. One of the two. But the work is yours and the fruit is yours. Uddharedat atmanat atmanam. Raise yourself by yourself, for you alone are your friend, and you alone are your enemy. You are your own uddhar karne wala. You are your own niche girane wala. Nobody else will do this. So does it try to say that the guru is not important, that the books are not important? Of course not. It's not saying that. It's not trying to tell us that, oh, I must hear nobody, I must see nobody. No, we can take help. Why not? We must reach out and take help. What is to stop us from taking help? We have a guru from whom we can learn. We have the books from whom we can learn. Let us reach out and take that help. No problem with that. But let us reach out and take that help. Let us use the various tools available for us to grow. Otherwise, all the tools are useless. You can have a whole go down full of tools. But if you don't go there and actually do something with them, you still won't have created anything. But not saying don't use tools. Of course, use tools. But the work you have to do yourself. You have to use those tools. You have to put them to right use. You have to figure out how to use them. You have to learn how to use them and use them and do this whole thing yourself. And we can all do it all together too. Why not? We are all on this path together. But we are on this path in a very strange way. We are together and we are individual. We are together in the sense this is a path that inspires us all. We feel we should do it. So in that sense, we are all, what should I say, close to each other's heart. But work to khud hi karna padega na. Every step each one will individually have to take forward. Of course, we can take support from our colleagues, from our teachers, do all that. But one step forward, each one of us will have to put ourselves. It's like we are going on a journey together. We're walking to, I don't know, Pune or something. And then we are all together, we are all walking together. But one step ahead of the next step, the person has to put themselves. So if we all do it together, can you imagine? We would be something that the world looks up to, all of us together. But each one will have to do that effort individually. Okay, so who will read the next paragraph?
May I, Janki ji? May I?
Yes, please do.
A human being alone has the potential to realize his divine self. No other creature is blessed with such faculty. Hence, one ought to utilize this propriety power. Human development is measured by spiritual edification, and spiritual unfoldment marks the progress of true civilization. Material wealth, emotional well-being, or secular knowledge have little to do with it. These are no indications of progress in human beings. The so-called advanced nations of the world are far from advanced in the true sense of the term. The much talked of development countries lack fundamental human development. The present day civilization has gone off the rails. Modern civilized ones without self-development are but intelligent savages living in spiritual slums. Here he's saying that though there are various countries who may propose to be well developed, but as a human development, they lack the potentialities. They are not on the level that they think because of the growth that they may show. So instead of
Can you say briefly what is the main idea? Can you say it in a line?
self-development lacks. Country-wise, they may be developed. They may be producing A, B, C, D stuff and
Yeah,
all.
don't elaborate. Can you put it in another way? What is the most important idea in this paragraph? Some
spiritual enhancing, that's lacking.
Okay. The most important idea is that human growth is spiritual edification. Human progress is spiritual edification. Anything else doesn't count. Anmol Jalan. Is there another batch? Yes, Anmol, there are other batches. You can look up the website and you will know the other ones. Okay. So the whole point being that
human development is measured by the spiritual edification. I think that's what he's trying to.
That's right. Yes. Because why is that so? Because being a human being is the only one who can do this. So obviously the yardstick for human growth has to be how close did you get to the self? And when you look around that yardstick, nobody's going to sort of follow. So what development are we talking about? Having a lot of money, having a lot of power, a lot of position. How is that even development? You will use all that to pull yourself down, not take yourself up. You use it to pull the world down, not take it up. Imagine so many people in so many positions of power. They could do so much to help everybody in this world get better, give everybody a leg up. But no, won't use it for that purpose, use it for something else. So it's quite sad. Divya, you are the self. Just having knowledge, awareness of it makes oneself realize, no, Divya, unfortunately, it's not that simple. Just having this information won't make us self-realize. Having got this information, we then have to take up the entire path and start working towards it. That's what he's talking about, the self-effort that you have to put in the path, which will one day reveal to us the truth of the statement. At the moment, it's only lip service. It doesn't mean anything. What does it even mean to say I'm the self? So it doesn't mean anything. When we take up the path, we'll understand what all it takes. We walk that path and then we reach there. It's like saying, you have to do all these things to climb Mount Everest. You may know all those things, but if you haven't done it, it doesn't count. You haven't seen the top, and also you don't know what those things mean, which they are saying you need to do these things to climb. You don't know the tool, you don't know the end. So no, just knowing it is not self-realization. So I hope this paragraph is clear that since this is a human prerogative to find out about the self, find out who you really are, only if you do it can you be called progressing human as a human. Otherwise, you're not progressing. Only when you do this, you will know morality, you will know wisdom, you will know productivity, you will know happiness. Otherwise, you won't know any of these things. You simply won't know. And so anything else you get won't count, doesn't count. Why doesn't it count? Because you may have all these things in the world. When you put your head on the pillow, you won't be able to sleep. Simple. If you're not happy, if you're not content, if you're not satisfied with your life, then what use is all these collections? And if you don't have this kind of growth, you can never have that contentment within. Just happy. Not asking for a lot, right? Just comfortable with your own life. Okay, clear? Any questions, or shall we go to the next paragraph? I think this is clear to everybody, right? The much talked of development is no development at all. Somebody has a Mercedes, so what? Not that we're against Mercedes. Please have Mercedes. Please have 10 of them. No problem. But what? If you're fighting with your spouse, what is that Mercedes going to do for you? If you have got a stomach ache, what is that Mercedes going to do to you? In other words, if your health is not working, your relationships are not working, what will you do with those things? Yes, of course, if you have lots of money, you get the best medical attention. That is true. But the suffering is yours, no? You're not getting away from the suffering. See, you may be rich or you may be poor, but if you look after your health, you won't have the physical suffering. But if you're rich and you don't look after your health, you will have the physical suffering. I mean, you won't have it exaggerated by having to go to KEM hospital to get it cured. You may go to a very fancy 5-star hotel and be in the suite and all that. But why should you be in a 5-star hospital? Why don't you go on a nice holiday? What are you happy? I'm so sick, but I'm in a lovely hospital. What's the point of that? Why don't you be healthy and go to Maldives or I don't know, wherever else you want to go? So is that clear? Clear, no? Want to do the next paragraph? Who will read the next paragraph?
Can I, Ganji?
Yes, please, Kinnari.
The world has been deprived of the essence of civilization. Civilization has come to mean more material aggrandizement, emotional excitement, and intellectual entrancement. People are enslaved by the glamour of wealth and possession. Even princes and presidents have confined themselves in material compartments with the stench of artificiality and conventionality. Others have succumbed to superficial emotions only to render their minds restless and nervous. Some are lost in the labyrinth of secular knowledges. Humanity gropes in darkness. The world is caught up in false pomp and show of progress and advancement. Neither the government nor the governed are aware of this stern reality. The salvation of nations and individuals lies in realizing these falsities and awakening to the reality of the true self. The essence of this paragraph is civilization after civilization is lost in the labyrinth of secular knowledges. People are just enslaved with artificial pomp and show. And to salvage people from this situation, one needs to rise above these falsities and awaken to the reality of the true self.
Okay. Can you give it in one sentence? Or can you choose the one sentence? He's also very, sort of charitable towards us. So usually he puts it also in one sentence in the paragraph. So can you identify which is that one sentence which is the most important sentence in this paragraph? Which is the essence of the paragraph?
The salvation of nations and individuals lies in realizing these falsities and awakening to the reality of the true self.
Okay.
Awakening of the true self or realizing of the true self.
Okay. But the whole point, yes, it's not incorrect what you're saying.
Humanity gropes in darkness.
Okay. Or you look at the first sentence.
The world has been deprived of the essence of civilization.
The whole paragraph only explains this, isn't it? What does it mean to be deprived of the essence of civilization? It means it's mere material aggrandizement. It's mere emotional excitement. It's mere intellectual entrancement. Enslaved by the glamour of wealth and possession. We're enslaved even by the glamour of spirituality. We think, oh, spirituality is very nice, no? enslaved by the glamour of it. So you're willing to do the work that it involves. So it's a stench of artificiality and conventionality. What is artificiality and conventionality? Remember those caterpillar going round and round? That's the one. Conventionality going round and round. So only the superficial emotions, labyrinth of secular knowledge. There's no hope for this but to realize the self. Okay, so that's it for our